Right, we're recording. So, so first, let's see if I can bring my questions over here. All right, tell me a little bit about your tiny home story and how you ended up purchasing and living in a tiny home.
I was in the process of a divorce from my first husband, and we lived in a beautiful 2,800 square foot house. And when I sold it after we got officially divorced, I had been looking into downsizing. At the time, it was just me and my son. And I didn't feel that I needed or we needed all of the space to waste anymore because it was just literally the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
I started researching and looking into tiny houses and what they entailed, and how they were, and people living in them, and what you needed to have one, obviously the land and accepted land. And after I mentioned it to my parents, and then after the mention to them, I ended up going down to Florida for a long weekend and found a builder that I had looked up and went and met with him, which was Cornerstone Tiny Homes. And I loved them. They were amazing, and their warehouse was really cool to look at, like the houses, and it just was more of a reality to me. So I told him I would get back to him, and literally as soon as we landed, probably the next day, I called, and the process had started. In kind of designing it, and he did like a one-on-one with me, like a Zoom call, and we designed it over the phone together, and gave him all of my specs and what I was looking for. And within 3 months, it was built and
That's
moved out of my
amazing.
house and into the tiny home.
That's awesome. Sounds like you had a really good experience with them.
I did. They are amazing. And even I still email him and he answers questions for me. And they're really good people and just a very good company. And they also do foundation tiny homes too, for like a lot of people down, that are looking for smaller space and down in Florida. So they have a really good business.
Wow. So, who do you think would be the perfect person to buy your tiny home?
I say someone that is going to have a really beautiful piece of land to put it on. I wouldn't specify it to a certain person because I think that there's so many generations that would love it. It just has to be somebody that uh, is willing to um, become a minimalist and understand that you're only limited to a certain amount of space. Um, but that you own this beautiful house and it's yours, and you can bring it wherever you want. You can transport it, you can travel with it if you choose. As we did not travel with it, and we just kind of put it in one spot. But I can't tell you, we were on 17 acres of land, and just were able to open our door and walk outside to this beautiful land on, like, with farm, and we had animals, and I became amazing friends with my landlord. But I wouldn't specifically put it on like a generation of, like, I would say obviously with the spacing, I would say somebody who's a husband and a wife with a little bit of an older child to enjoy the loft area, or like possibly like an older couple, that possibly has like a older, grandchild that they could put up there.
Yeah. Sounds like a dream come true, living on such a large plot of land and
Oh,
just,
it so was, and it was one of my first places that I found, and I went to go meet the woman, and it just at that moment was something amazing, and she didn't charge us a lot, and I and my husband and my son all enjoyed it. Like, and my dog, she was able to just kind of run, and we trained her to stay on the land, and it was amazing. I do miss it for that reason. I wish we could just live on that, but unfortunately not.
yeah, yeah. So, what, I guess, last question. What separates you as a seller? Why would people want to work with you, and how are you able to help?
Um, on actually while we were living in it, still keep up on um, some regulations and like the different areas you can do um, and put them, what's considered a an IDU, or an ADU, I mean, an accessory dwelling, and the states are very open to it, a lot of them now. So, and I'm also just a very informative person. I'm easy to get along with. I will do anything to help somebody that was in my situation in the beginning. Um, I I just want somebody to be able to buy it and enjoy it as much as we did. And it brings tears to my eyes.
Mm, I love it. It's always so bittersweet. I feel like every seller is going through life life changes, and just it's never easy to move on to that next stage for sellers. I think it's always very very bittersweet.
It is, and I think it's more so because I thought that, like, literally initially, I had thought I was gonna be in it for longer than we were, but
Mhm.
circumstances of life, like you said, kind of took over, and we had to make a move. And in Massachusetts, there we did look. There's really not a lot of area to put it in acceptable, at least. You can. You're just gotta make sure that it's hidden. And we did have quite a few areas we could put it, but it just wasn't what I wanted. Like, it was
Yeah.
more, a little space like this just to put the house in, and you didn't have anywhere to enjoy. And I think living in a tiny home, you want to be somewhere that you're going to enjoy the land, you're going to enjoy the house, and be able to. I think a lot of people want it just to kind of maybe like homestead, or do your own thing and not have to worry about anything. And it's hard to find that, but if you look, there is plenty of places that are accessible to do it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yep, especially if you're open to change and new experiences and trying new things and just making it happen. It
Oh,
takes a
for
certain
sure.
kind of person.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this. And
Oh, not a problem. Thank you, Liz. I look really forward to working with you, and I think it's going to be amazing. And I'm really, really crossing my fingers that somebody decides that they want my house.
yeah, yeah, it's our job to get it in front of that person, right?
What's the and I asked Eric, what's like the average, like how many people are really out there, and do they actually buy them, like not just from you guys, obviously.